The outcast girl far away from Earth, in a corner of the galaxy, there was a strange planet called Velmora. It was a beautiful place, full of silver trees, floating rocks, and glowing skies. But under its beauty was a cruel secret. The people of Velmora believed in purity. If your blood was not clean, you were not welcome. No one knew what clean really meant, but the Council of Genes made the rules. They decided who could live in the cities and who would be thrown into the shadows. Kayla was only 5 years old when she was taken from her family. Her blood was different. The test said she was a mix of Velmoran and something else. They didn't know what, and that made them afraid, so they called her blood unclean and sent her away. She grew up in the Black Zones, a cold and broken place outside the great cities. No power, no food, no love only. Silence and survival. Others lived there too, orphans, failed experiments, half-bloods, but most of them didn't live long. Kayla did. Now she was 16, strong, quiet, and different. She could feel something inside her, something no one else had. When she touched broken machines, they came to life. When she got angry, the ground shook under her feet, but she never told anyone, not even the other outcasts. Every night, Kayla climbed the tallest rock near the fence. From there, she could see the glowing cities in the distance. She dreamed of leaving the Black Zones, of flying into the stars, but dreams were dangerous, and hope was a luxury. One night, as she sat watching the sky, she saw something strange. A small ship, burning, falling fast, crashing near the old ruins. No one else saw it, just her. She ran, fast and silent, her heart pounding like a drum. The crash site was smoking and hot. The ship was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was black, metal, and marked with symbols not from Velmora. As she stepped closer, she heard a soft groan from inside. Carefully, she climbed through the broken door. There, lying on the floor, was a man not Velmoran, not hybrid, but something new. He had short black hair, bleeding wounds, and strange clothes. She had never seen a human before, but she knew at once this was not from her world. His eyes opened slowly, and he stared at her in shock. "You? You're not one of them," he whispered. "No," she said. "I'm worse." Then everything went dark when she woke up. It was morning. The man was still alive, but barely. She had brought him water, food, and wrapped his wounds with old cloth. He looked at her again, this time with curiosity, not fear. "What's your name?" he asked. "Kayla," she said. "I'm Rain," he replied. Commander Rain of Earth's resistance fleet. She didn't understand all his words, but one stood out: Earth. So the stories were true. There were humans in the stars. They had left Earth long ago, spreading across galaxies, fighting wars, looking for peace. Rain said he had come to Velmora on a secret mission. He was searching for someone, the last of the Starborn, a being with the power to stop the war that had burned half the galaxy. Kayla laughed. "You won't find anyone like that here." But Rain looked at her closely. "When you touched me last night," he said, "I saw something. I felt energy, light, like a star waking up." Kayla stood up, afraid. "No one can know what I am," she said. "They'll kill me." "You're not a monster," Rain said softly. "You might be the answer." Suddenly, a loud sound filled the air. Drones scanning for movement. The council had seen the crash, and they were coming. Kayla grabbed Rain's arm, helping him stand. "We have to go," she said. As they ran through the ruins, she felt the power rising again. The machines around them hummed as she passed. When a drone spotted them and fired, Kayla raised her hand without thinking. A wall of force exploded from her, sending the drone crashing into the rocks. Rain stared at her, amazed. "You really are her," he said. "Who?" Kayla asked, her voice shaking. "The Starburn," he whispered. Above them, the sky turned red, more drones flying in. Kyla and Rain disappeared into the shadows of the black zones. Behind them, the machines whispered in the old tongue. She has awakened. The human and the hybrid asterisk smoke rose behind them as Kayla and Commander Rain moved deeper into the ruined zone. Drones were everywhere, scanning, hunting, killing. Rain limped with every step, his wounds still bleeding. Kayla didn't speak her. Mind was racing. How had she done that? How had she stopped that drone with her hand? What was happening to her? They reached an old cargo tunnel, long abandoned and buried under dust. Inside, it was dark and quiet. Kayla lit a small flame with her hand. Not fire, not light, but something glowing and alive. Rain stared at it in awe. "You've never done that before?" He asked. "No." She whispered. "It just happened." Rain took out a small cube from his jacket and pressed a button. A soft blue light scanned Kayla's body, then blinked red. "You're not just hybrid," he said. "You're something else entirely. Something the Council is afraid of." Kayla turned away, her voice cold. "I've been hunted since I was a child. I don't need more stories." But Rain stood up, wincing in pain. "Listen to me," he said. "I wasn't just passing by this planet. My ship was tracking a signal, pulse from an ancient code. Do you know what it locked onto?" Kayla looked at him, her voice quiet. "Me," Rain nodded. "You're not an accident. Kayla, you were created for something just then." The cube in Rain's hand blinked again, but this time it flashed yellow. A warning. They're triangulating. "This location," he said. "We have 10 minutes, maybe less. We have to move." Kayla helped him up, and together they left the tunnel. But before they could go far, they heard a strange sound. Not a drone, not mechanical. This was alive. Out of the shadows came a figure in black armor, thin and fast like a shadow. The face was covered, the voice filtered. "You broke the code," the figure said. "You weren't supposed to wake up." Kayla stepped forward, standing between the assassin and Rain. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm the one they made to kill you," the figure replied. "And now you've made it easy." The assassin moved like lightning. Kayla barely dodged the first strike. A blade sliced through the air where her neck had been a second ago. Rain fired his sidearm. Blue sparks hit the armor, but did nothing. Kayla raised both hands, trying to summon her power, but nothing came. "I can't control it," she gasped. The assassin grabbed her by the throat and slammed her against a wall. "You were a mistake," the voice said. "Your kind was erased for a reason." Suddenly, Kayla's eyes glowed white. Not just her eyes, her skin, her veins. Even her breath shimmered with light. A force burst out from her body, throwing the assassin across the tunnel. The walls cracked. The ceiling shook. Rain grabbed Kayla's arm, pulling her back to reality. "Breathe," he said. "Control." The assassin vanished into the smoke, but not before leaving a final message. "They know you're awake. They're coming." As silence returned, Kayla fell to her knees. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Rain knelt beside her. "You're awakening, piece by piece," he said. "The Council has lied for generations. There was once a race that could bend reality with thought alone. They were called the Starburn." Kayla shook her head. "That's just legend." "Not anymore," Rain said. "They feared the Starburn, so they destroyed them. But not all. One was hidden, rebuilt, recoded into a hybrid shell. You," she looked at her hands, still glowing slightly. "If I'm really one of them," she said, "why can't I control it?" Rain looked away for a moment, hesitating. "There's something you need to see," he said finally. He tapped a code into the cube, and a hologram appeared. A female figure, glowing and ancient, spoke in a lost language. Kayla felt pain in her head, but also clarity. She could understand the words, even though she'd never heard them before. It was a message from the past. "To the last of us, if you are hearing this, then you are the key. You are not weapon. You are balance. Become what we could not. Kayla looked up, her voice firm. I need answers. Then we need to leave this planet, Rain replied, and fast. As they escaped into the tunnels, alarms rang across Velmora. A red alert had been issued, not for an intruder, not for a crash, but for something worse. Subject Kayla. Active. Class Omega threat. Kill on sight. In the sky above. A dark ship entered the atmosphere. Its symbol was not from Velmora. It belonged to the old empire, and they had come to finish what they started. Secrets of the past 2 moons floated above the dead planet of Karen. Its surface was dry and cracked like old skin. Long ago, it had been a thriving world, filled with knowledge and temples. Now, only ruins remained, buried under ash and silence. This was where Commander Rain had taken Kayla. Not to hide, but to search. This is where the truth begins. He told her. Kayla didn't speak, but her eyes kept scanning the strange symbols carved into stone. Her breath felt heavy, like something ancient was watching her. They walked into a deep chamber, hidden beneath a broken statue. Torches lit themselves as Kayla passed, though no flame touched them. Your energy wakes this place, Rain said. This was a starborn vault. One of the last left untouched. Kayla moved slowly, her fingers brushing across strange metal. It hummed softly beneath her touch, like it remembered her. In the center of the room was a black pillar, covered in silver veins. Rain pulled a device from his coat and placed it near the pillar. The ground shook slightly, and then a ghostly figure appeared in front of them, glowing blue. It was a woman, tall and graceful, with the same white eyes Kayla had seen in the mirror. She began to speak in an old tongue, but this time Kayla understood every word. To the one who bears our spark, this is your truth. The image shifted, showing a massive war in space-burning ships, falling worlds, and a race of beings with eyes like stars. The starburn. Kayla watched as the vision showed the council turning on the starburn. They feared us, the voice said, not because we were violent, but because we were free. Rain looked at Kayla. They wiped your kind from history. Kayla's voice shook. Why me? Why did I survive? The image changed again, showing a lab, a stasis pod, and a child floating inside her. You were the last piece, the voice said. Our spark, hidden in flesh, protected by time. We gave you a human shell, so they would never find you. Kayla stepped back, heart pounding. So I'm not real, she whispered. I'm just a design. You are more real than any of them, Rain said. You were made with purpose, not control. Before Kayla could speak, a loud crack echoed through the vault. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then a cold, metallic voice rang out. You've come too far. From the entrance, 5 armored soldiers entered, elite enforcers of the council. Their weapons glowed red, aimed straight at Kayla. Target confirmed. Class Omega, one of them said. Execute. Kayla froze, her power flickering in her hands, but refusing to rise. Rain pulled his blaster, shooting 2 of them down before being thrown by an energy blast. The enforcers moved fast, one grabbing Kayla by the neck. You don't belong, it growled. Suddenly, the vault itself reacted. The walls pulsed with light, symbols lighting up like stars. Kayla's body lifted into the air, her eyes glowing white again. A wave of force burst out, turning the enforcers into dust. Silence returned, but Kayla floated for a moment longer, her hair rising, her voice no longer her own. I remember now, she said, voice layered with echoes. I am not a mistake. I am the key. She dropped to the ground, weak but alive. Rain pulled himself up and looked at her. They'll come again, he said. They know you're no longer hidden. Kayla looked at the ashes on the ground. I won't run anymore, she said. If they want a war, I'll give them a reason to fear me. But even as she said those words, another presence entered the vault. A figure in dark robes, face hidden by a glowing mask. Kayla raised her hands, but the figure did not attack. I came before the council, it said. Before the wars, before the lies. You're not the only Starburn who survived. Kayla's eyes narrowed. Then show yourself. The figure removed the mask, and Kyla gasped. It was her face, but older, colder, twisted by time and pain. I am Vera, the woman said, your twin, created in secret. Where you were hidden to protect, I was trained to destroy. Rain stepped between them. Why are you here? Vera looked at Kayla, her voice full of conflict. To test her, she said, to see if the light in her is stronger than the darkness in me. Without warning, Vera vanished, leaving only a whisper in the air. The real war hasn't started yet. Kayla stood in silence, the weight of truth settling on her shoulders. She wasn't just a girl from the Black Zones. She was part of something ancient, something powerful, and her past was no longer buried. Was rising, in the skies above, dozens of council ships prepared to descend, but far beyond them, deep in the void, others were watching too. Old enemies, old friends, old gods. Kayla was no longer running. She was waking. Enemy of the stars asterisk. The stars above Velnora no longer felt peaceful. They shimmered with war, watching from the cold sky. Kayla stood on the edge of an old tower, the wind pulling at her clothes. Her hands still burned with power, though she barely understood how to control it. The memory of Vera, her twin, her shadow played over and over in her mind. You were made to protect, she had said. I was made to end you. Kayla wanted answers, but more than that, she wanted freedom. Not just for herself, but for every outcast, every broken child the council had thrown away. Beside her, Commander Rain checked the sky through a cracked visor. They're coming, he said. Not just drones this time. Kayla turned slowly. How many? Too many, Rain replied. A full fleet. The council had declared war, not just on her, but on any world that might shelter her, and humans. We're first on their list. We need allies, Kayla said. Others like me. There are none, Rain answered. You're the last. Kayla shook her head. No, I was just the last to awaken. Rain opened a holomap, revealing a cluster of red zones. These are council prisons, he said. Places where hybrids, failed clones, and half-bloods are locked away. Then that's where we go, Kayla said firmly. If I have a chance to lead, I'll start with the Forgotten. But before they could move, piercing sound cracked the air, sirens, but not from Velmora's systems. A foreign frequency, dark and sharp. Kyla's skin went cold. What is that? She whispered. Rain's face turned pale. It's not the council, he said. It's something worse. High above, a black ship entered the orbit massive, silent, shaped like a blade. It bore no flag, no colors, only a symbol, a circle broken in half. Rain cursed under his breath. The Shard Collective, he said. Galactic hunters of rogue tech and living weapons. They don't care who's right. They erase what they can't control. Kayla felt something twist in her chest. They're here for me. As the ship hovered, a message echoed across the ruins. Subject 5A. The Starbone Core. You are in violation of universal order. You will be extracted and dismantled. Kayla stepped forward, lifting her hand. I'm done running, she said. Let them try. But Rain grabbed her wrist. You're strong, yes, but you're not ready, not for them. They ran into the underground ruins, chasing old escape tunnels built during the First War. Rain led her through twisting paths, while Kayla tried to calm the storm inside her. She could feel her power fighting back, wild, unstable, louder every time she felt fear. At last, they reached a hidden rebel ship buried in the rock. As it powered up, Kayla felt a sudden pull, a voice inside her head. Not human, not alien, but something older. The enemy is not the stars, it said. It is what hides behind them. Before she could speak, Rain yelled, Go now. The ship burst from the mountain, blasting toward the edge of Velmora's atmosphere. Behind them, the black blade of the Shard Collective fired its first pulse. The planet shook. Parts of the surface collapsing into fire. Kyla's heart raced, not from fear, but from rage. They'll burn entire worlds just to reach me, she said. Rain nodded. And they've done it before. Suddenly, the ship was hit systems flashing red, shields dropping. They were being pulled into a gravity well created by the Shard's war engine. We're not going to outrun it, Rain said. Kayla looked at the engine core of the ship. Her hand touched the panel. And instantly light surged through her arm. The ship responded to her like it was alive. No, she said. We're going through it. The vessel bent space as Kayla's power merged with its systems. In a flash of white, they jumped farther than the ship was ever built to go. They landed, broken but alive, on a moon called Everon, cold, forgotten. Full of old tech ruins, Rain collapsed, barely breathing. Kayla pulled him out of the wreckage, dragging him into a cave. I'm not letting you die, she whispered. Hours passed, maybe days. Kayla found a signal tower and managed to activate it. But instead of calling for help, it answered a call. Already coming, a voice came through the static. You shouldn't be alive. It said, I thought I erased you. Kayla's hands trembled. Who is this? The voice answered with a laugh that chilled her blood. I'm the one who created your pain. I gave the order to erase the starburn, and I'm coming to finish it myself. Rain opened his eyes slowly. Who was it? He asked. Kayla's voice turned to steel. Someone who thinks I'm still the scared girl from the Black Zones. She looked at the stars again. I'm not her anymore. I'm the enemy of their lies. Broken trust. The wind on Everon howled like a wounded beast, cold, sharp, and restless. Inside the cave, Kayla sat beside a flickering flame, her eyes locked on Commander Rain. He was still unconscious, pale, and burning with fever. The ship's emergency med kit was nearly empty, and she had no healing powers, not for others. Only destruction lived in her hands. She clenched her fists, angry at herself, angry at everything. A small device on Rain's jacket blinked red. Curious, Kayla removed it and pressed the side. A hidden screen opened, showing a secret message. Marked level Omega. Eyes only. She hesitated, then watched. Rain appeared on screen, but not the one she knew. This version of him looked cold, like a soldier following orders. If Subject 5AW is found alive, the message said, secure her with trust. Deceive if necessary. Deliver her to Sector 9 intact. Do not reveal her origin. Do not form personal attachments. Kayla stared at the screen, her heart slowing. He had orders. He was never supposed to protect her. He was supposed to deliver her. Like a weapon, like a tool. Her breath grew sharp. Her vision blurred with tears she didn't let fall. She stood, hands glowing, her power reacting to her rage. Rain groaned softly. Waking up, Kayla, he whispered, you okay? She didn't answer, just stared at him, expression cold as stone. You lied to me, she said quietly. Rain blinked, confused. What do you mean? She tossed the device beside him. The message still playing. Rain's face dropped. His silence said everything. I was just a mission to you, she said. A target to be delivered. No, Rain said, struggling to sit. It started that way, yes, but things changed. I changed? Kayla stepped back, her power sparking. Tell me the truth, she demanded. Was any of it real? Rain looked at her, pain in his eyes. All of it, he said. I didn't plan to care, but I do, more than I should. His words didn't heal the damage, but they stopped her from walking away, barely, before she could speak again. The ground trembled. A storm outside grew louder. Not wind, not nature, but machines. Kayla ran outside and saw the sky filled with glowing shapes. Ships hundreds. of them descending silently like ghosts, but they didn't bear the council's mark, nor the shard collectives. These ships were older, cracked with age, covered in alien script. From the center of the fleet came a massive carrier, shaped like a sun with fractured wings. It hovered above the moon, and a single figure dropped from it, landing like a meteor. Kyla raised her hand, ready to fight, but the figure didn't attack. It was a woman in white armor, tall and scarred, her eyes glowing gold. "I am Ithra," she said, "first general of the Forgotten." Kayla blinked. "The Forgotten?" Ithra nodded. "Hybrids, rejects, bioweapons like you, but older. We were the first, before the council erased us. We were told you died, but now hope burns again." Kayla didn't know what to say. She wasn't ready to lead anyone. She couldn't even trust the only friend she had. "You brought an army," she said slowly. "Not to fight," Ether replied, "to follow. You are the last Starborn core, the only one who can rewrite the code." Before Kayla could respond, another explosion rocked the surface. Far above, a council dreadnought appeared. It had tracked them here, and it brought a weapon designed for one purpose: to erase Kayla from existence. Rain staggered out of the cave, holding a blaster. "Is it them?" he asked. Kayla nodded, then turned to Ithra. "Do your people have ships ready?" "Always," Ithra replied. Kayla looked at the sky, then back at Rain. "I'm not ready," she said, "but I can't wait anymore." Rain stepped beside her. "And let's end this together." Kayla closed her eyes and whispered words she didn't understand, but her blood did. Energy pulsed through the ground, rising into the air like fireflies. The sky cracked with light, and Kayla began to float, her hair lifting, her voice echoing. "I am not your weapon," she said. "I am your warning." The first blast from the council dreadnought struck, but it didn't hit the ground. It hit a shield, made not of tech, but of Sheila's will. Ithra watched in awe as Kayla rose higher. Rain's eyes were filled with fear, and something else. She wasn't a girl anymore. She was a storm. Rise of the Starborn **. Fire danced across the sky as the council's dreadnought fell. It crashed into the mountains of Iveron. Breaking like glass, the blast wave tore through the moon's surface. Kayla stood unharmed. Her power had formed a shield across the battlefield, a glowing wall of energy. She hovered above the rebels, her eyes pure white, her voice layered with power. She was no longer hiding, no longer unsure. The forgotten hybrids below watched in silence. Some dropped to their knees, others reached out with awe. This was more than survival now. This was revolution. Beside the wreckage, Commander Rain and Ithra stood shoulder to shoulder. "She's awake," Ithra said quietly. Rain nodded, but worry clouded his eyes. "She's powerful, yes," he said, "but power without control can burn everything." The ground rumbled again, not from the crash, but from something older, from beneath the moon. An ancient machine began to rise, black stone mixed with glowing lines of alien code, the vault of origin, long buried by time and fear. Kayla floated down, her feet touching the ground in front of it. The vault's door opened for her without a single word. She stepped inside, followed only by silence. Inside, the walls were lined with memories, holograms, maps, symbols older than language, and at the center was a chair, surrounded by floating shards of light. Kayla sat, and the room came alive. Visions filled her mind. She saw planets burn, cities rise, her own face twisted in pain and glory. She saw the Starborn Empire, long before it fell, a galaxy, ruled not by fear, but by balance. And then she saw Vera, standing in a dark chamber, surrounded by red light, eyes glowing with fury. She was building something, an army, a weapon, a throne made of stars. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber. "Found you." Kella's eyes snapped open, And there she was, Vera, standing in the vault's doorway. Her armor was cracked, but her smile was sharp. "You've awakened the core," Vera said, stepping forward. "You've done what I couldn't." Kayla rose from the chair, her hands glowing. "I don't want your war," she said. "Too late," Vera replied. "It already started the day you chose to live." The two circled each other slowly, energy pulsing in the air like lightning ready to strike. "You were made to unite," Vera said. "I was made to destroy. We're not enemies," Kayla sighed. "We're sisters." "No," Vera said coldly. "We're opposites." Without warning, Vera struck. Light and shadow collided, shaking the vault's walls. The two starborns spiraled into combat, each blow shaking the ground. It wasn't just a fight, it was history trying to rewrite itself. Outside, the hybrids and rebels saw the mountain crack. "Open. What's happening in there?" someone asked. Rain's jaw tightened. "She's fighting her mirror," he whispered. "If she loses?" "We all do." Inside the vault, Kayla struggled. Vera was stronger, faster, trained for war. But Kayla had something her sister didn't. Hope. Vera pinned her to the wall, blade to her throat. "You think you're different," she snarled. "You think you're better because you hesitate." Kala's eyes flickered with light. "No," she said. "I'm better because I choose." With a burst of will, Kayla pushed Vera back. Not with power, but with purpose, she reached out her hand, not to strike, but to offer. "I don't want to kill you," Kayla said. "I want to save you." Vera froze, her blade shaking. For the first time, her expression broke. Tears formed in her eyes, though they didn't fall. "I don't know who I am without the fight," she whispered. Kayla stepped forward and touched her hand. "You don't have to be what they made you." Light spread between them, their powers merging for a moment. And in that moment, something changed. The vault began to rise, and the sky above Everon opened. A massive signal burst into the stars, a beacon. Across the galaxy, machines woke up, old codes unlocked, star maps rearranged. The starborn signal had returned. Every world, every fleet, every shadow government now knew Kayla was alive, but it wasn't over. As Kayla and Vera stepped out of the vault, side by side, Ether ran forward. "You need to see this," she said. Opening a communication feed, a figure appeared, sitting on a throne of wires and bones, half machine, half flesh, his voice distorted but unmistakable. "Kayla," he said, "you don't know me, but I know everything about you. I was the one who shut down the Starborn. I was the one who erased your name from history. And now that you've awakened, I'm going to erase it again permanently." Rain stared at the figure in shock. "That's not a council leader," he said. "That's a living code AI, something that should not exist." Kayla narrowed her eyes. "You built this galaxy on silence and fear," she said. "But I'm done staying quiet." The figure smiled. "Then speak," it said. "Let's see if your voice is louder than my army." Above them, a fleet darker than night appeared in orbit. Not the council, not the Shard Collective. Something worse. And this time, they didn't come to capture. They came to erase. A new bloodline. The stars above were gone, hidden behind black metal. The sky was filled with the erasure fleet, a swarm of living machines built to wipe out entire histories. They didn't just destroy planets. They erased memory, culture, bloodlines. They erased names. Kayla stood on the cliffs of Everon, her hands glowing, her heart heavy. Beside her stood Vera, still scarred, still uncertain, but no longer controlled. And behind them, thousands of hybrids, rebels, forgotten children, all waiting for her to speak. She turned to them, her voice carried by the wind. "They called us broken," she said. "They called us dangerous. They tried to delete us, to bury us under fear. But we're still here." The crowd roared, voices rising like thunder. For the first time, They weren't hiding. For the first time they belonged. In the command ship orbiting above, the living code watched silently. His body was a mix of organic flesh and glowing data. He had no face, only 1,000 eyes that never blinked. "Activate Omega Sweep," he said. "Begin cleansing." The sky burned. Weapons unlike any in the galaxy charged upmade from pure data, designed to erase life from existence. Rain rushed into Kella's camp. "They're going to wipe the entire moon," he said. "Even your power can't stop that kind of tech." Kayla looked at him with calm eyes. "I don't plan to." "Stop it," she said. "I plan to rewrite it." She walked to the edge of the battlefield, raised her arms. Her body lifted into the air, surrounded by symbols from the Vault of Origin. The starborn code lit up the skies, pushing back the black clouds. "Hey!" Voice echoed in every mind. Not Kella's, but something larger speaking through her. "We were not built to destroy. We were built to remember." The erasure fleet fired. Kayla didn't block it, she caught it. Raw erasure beams struck her body and shattered into light. She screamed, but not in pain and release. Her blood turned to energy, her skin to code, her soul to memory. She became the living core, the final form of the starborn. Below, the hybrids watched as the sky turned from black to gold. The erasure beams began to backfire, turning inward, corrupting the fleet's systems. Inside his throne, the living code glitched. "This isn't possible," he hissed. "She's rewriting the protocol." Rain grabbed a console and tapped into the starborn signal. "She's not rewriting it," he said. "She's becoming it." Kalla's voice returned, but now it echoed across time itself. "I don't want war," she said. "I don't want a throne. I want choice." With a single burst of will, she sent a shockwave across the galaxy. Not a weapon, but a key. All the lost hybrids, all the hidden children, all the erased memories restored, statues reformed, names returned to ancient databases. Families broken by fear now remembered who they were. Even Vera's eyes widened as memories flooded her mind, not of pain, but of childhood. "I remember our mother," she whispered. "She sang to us." The erasure fleet collapsed from within, ships turning to dust and falling from the sky. The living code screamed one last time before his throne exploded in silence. Kella's body drifted slowly to the ground. She was glowing, fading. Peaceful rain ran to her, catching her as she fell. "You did it," he whispered. "You saved everyone." Kayla smiled weakly. "No," she said. "We saved ourselves." Her light dimmed, her voice fading, but her presence didn't vanish. It spread into every system, every world, every living being who had ever felt alone. She didn't die. She became memory. She became code. She became legend. Years passed. The galaxy changed. The council fell. The Shard Collective disappeared, and the word hybrid became a title of honor. Statues were built not of soldiers, but of children holding stars, and every child born with a spark in their blood was told the same story, about the girl who was banished for being different, the girl who touched the stars and wrote anew. Future, in the center of the new Galactic Union, a flame still burns. It glows with white light, never hot, never cold, just eternal. And on the wall behind it, written in a simple language anyone could read, were these words: "I am not your weapon. I am not your mistake. I am your reminder. We all belong."